On Mother's Day, my daughter handed her mother-in-law a $20,000 diamond ring and a luxury cruise. She handed me a $5 plastic trinket. I smiled. I'm glad you're here. Stay with me until the end and tell me where you're watching from. I read every comment. The restaurant was beautiful. Soft lighting, white linen, everything carefully arranged to look meaningful. I arrived early, not because I had to, because I always do. I've spent most of my life being the one who arrives first, the one who prepares, the one who makes sure everything feels complete. I chose a pale blue dress that morning. My husband used to say it made me look calm. Like nothing can shake you, he would say. He's been gone 3 years. But I still remember what calm looks like. Melissa walked in 20 minutes later. Confident, polished, already smiling, but not at me. Mom, she said, quick hug. Light, efficient. Then she turned. Linda. Her whole face changed. I watched it happen. That shift, that warmth, that ease, the kind she used to have with me. We sat down. Menus opened. Drinks ordered. Everything looked normal. That's how these things always start. Normal, until they aren't. Then came the gifts. Melissa clapped her hands softly. I've been so excited about this. She reached for a velvet box. Black, elegant, expensive before you even open it. For you, Linda. Linda laughed nervously. Oh, you didn't have to. I wanted to. She opened it. The diamond caught the light immediately. Sharp, bright, impossible to ignore. 20,000, Melissa added. Just casually, like she was mentioning the weather. The table reacted exactly how it should. Gasps, compliments, admiration. Linda looked overwhelmed. You deserve it, Melissa said. Then came the envelope. The cruise. 7 days. Caribbean. All paid. More admiration. More warmth. More attention. I sat there, smiling, watching, learning. Because moments like this, they don't just show you what someone gives. They show you what someone values. Then Melissa turned to me. Oh, and Mom. Her tone changed. Softer, lighter, less important. She reached into her purse, pulled out something wrapped in thin plastic. No box, no ribbon, just plastic. I took it. Light, too light. A small pink object. The price sticker still attached. $5, isn't it cute? She said. I looked at it, then at her, then back at the table where no one was looking at me. And I smiled, because in that moment, I understood something very clearly. You don't get replaced all at once. You get replaced in small, quiet upgrades. The waiter poured champagne. For Linda. For Melissa. For Brian. Then he moved on. Skipped my glass. I didn't say anything. I picked up my water instead. Cold. Still. Forgettable. Across from me, Linda turned her hand again, admiring the ring. Melissa leaned closer. It fits perfectly, right? You always think of everything, Linda said. I lowered my eyes to my plate. Everything. That word stayed with me. Because once, she thought of everything for me too. The food arrived. Beautiful. Precise. Carefully arranged. Melissa served Linda first. Try this. Is the sauce okay? Do you need anything else? Her voice was warm, attentive, intentional. Then she glanced at me. Mom, you should try this. She placed something on my plate. Didn't wait for my response. Didn't look back. That's how distance works. Not with rejection. With reduction. I took a bite. I don't remember what it tasted like. Because by then, I had already started noticing everything else. Brian pulled out his phone. You have to see the cruise suite. They leaned in. All 3 of them. Heads close together. Laughing. Reacting. Sharing. I waited. Just for a second. No one turned the phone toward me. No one said, look at this. So I nodded anyway. Like I had seen it. Like I was part of it. Because you learn that too. How to participate without being included. The main course arrived. Steak. Salmon. Vegetarian. Then mine. Chicken. The waiter said, placing it down. I hadn't ordered chicken. I still nodded. That's fine. Because correcting things only works when people are paying attention. And no one was. Melissa started talking about a recent trip. With Brian's family, she said. We rented this lake house. It was perfect. Linda smiled. You always plan the best things. Melissa laughed. I learned from the best. From the best. I almost smiled. Because I remembered who taught her that. I set my fork down. Not full. Just finished. Because hunger isn't always about food. Dessert came. Creme brulee. Melissa cracked the top gently. There it is. Linda laughed. They shared it. 1 spoon. Then another. Slow. Comfortable. Familiar. No one offered me any. Not intentionally. That's what makes it worse. It wasn't cruelty. It was absence. I leaned back slightly, hands in my lap. Still. Composed. Invisible. And that's when it happened. Not outside. Inside. A shift. Because suddenly, this didn't feel new anymore. It felt familiar. I remembered Christmas. Just immediate family, Melissa had said. I spent it alone. Later, I saw the photos. 20 people. Laughter. Wine glasses raised. Everyone there. Except me. I remembered my birthday. We'll celebrate later. We never did. But a week after, another trip. Another table. Another set of photos. I wasn't in. I remembered the small things. The missed calls. The late invitations. The "we thought you'd be busy." Each one small. Harmless. Easy to excuse. Until you line them up. And then, they're not small anymore. They're a pattern. And patterns don't lie. Across the table, Linda squeezed Melissa's hand. "You've always been like a daughter to me." Melissa smiled. "That means a lot." Like a daughter. I looked at her. Really looked. Because I had been her mother. Not like. Not almost. Not close to. I had been the original. And yet, here we were. I picked up the plastic gift. Turned it slowly in my hand. $5 still there. Still visible. Still honest. And for the first time that day, I didn't feel hurt. I felt clear. Because that gift wasn't an accident. It was a summary of exactly where I stood. I placed it back on the table. Gently. Carefully. Like it mattered. Because it did. Not for what it was worth. But for what it revealed. And in that moment, I made a decision. I wouldn't ask for a better seat at that table. I would build a different one. The drive home was quiet. Not peaceful. Just quiet enough to hear everything I hadn't said. I didn't turn on the radio. Didn't call anyone. Didn't replay the lunch. Because there was nothing left to replay. Everything had already been decided. Just not by me. I pulled into my driveway. Sat there for a moment. Hands on the steering wheel. Still. Because something inside me was no longer reacting. It was observing. That was new. Inside, the house felt the same. Clean. Organized. Predictable. Exactly the way I had kept it for years. For people who slowly stopped showing up. I walked into the kitchen. Set my keys down. Poured a glass of water. Didn't drink it. Just held it. Because I was thinking about something simple. Not the ring. Not the cruise. Not even the gift. I was thinking about access. Who had it? And why? I sat down at the table. The same table where Melissa used to do her homework. "Mom, can you help me with this?" I always did. No questions asked. No conditions. Just help. That's how it starts. You help. Then you manage. Then one day, you're no longer involved at all. I stood up. Walked to the living room. The photos were still there. Unchanged. Memories frozen in a version of us that no longer existed. I looked at one of Melissa as a teenager. Smiling. Open. Looking at me like I mattered. I tilted the frame slightly. Then straightened it. Not because it needed fixing. Because I did. I went upstairs. Opened my closet. Reached for the box Daniel had told me to keep safe. Just in case. I used to hate that phrase. It meant something could go wrong. Now I understood. Things don't go wrong all at once. They shift. Quietly. Until there's somewhere you don't recognize. I opened the box. Pulled out the documents. Old. Important. Ignored for too long. I sat on the bed. Started reading. Slowly. Line by line. And within minutes, I saw it. Not clearly. But enough. Small changes. Access permissions. Names attached where they didn't used to be. I stopped. Looked up. Because that was the moment. Not the lunch. Not the gift. This. This was the moment everything stopped being emotional and started being real. I closed the folder. Picked up my phone. Scrolled. Found a number I hadn't used in years. And I smiled. Not softly. Not kindly. Precisely. Because I wasn't going to ask what happened. I was going to verify it. The meeting was Tuesday. 10:30 a.m. I didn't need a reminder. When something matters, you don't forget. The office hadn't changed. Same building. Same quiet hallway. Same sense that everything inside was handled properly. That mattered. Because I was done guessing. "Mrs. Hayes," Martin said. Same voice. Steady. Reliable. I sat down. Placed the folder in front of him. "I need to review everything," I said. No explanation. No hesitation. He nodded. Of course he did. Because tone matters. And mine had changed. He opened the documents. Started reading. Silently. Carefully. That silence told me more than any reaction could. After a minute, he looked up. These accounts, he said, have recent activity. I didn't respond. I already knew the answer. I didn't authorize all of it, I said. Not a question. A statement. He nodded slowly. Scrolled further. These aren't random, he added. They're structured. Structured. That word mattered. Because structure means intention. Who has access? He asked. My daughter. No pause. No defense. Just fact. And when was that granted? When my husband passed. That part made sense. Back then, when trust still meant something. He leaned back slightly, studying the pattern. These transfers, he said, they're consistent. How consistent? I asked. Monthly. A pause. Sometimes more. There it was. Not one mistake. Not one moment. A system. Quiet. Ongoing. Invisible. Unless you looked. I didn't react. Because reaction would have made it emotional. And this wasn't emotional anymore. It was structural. I want access removed, I said. Immediately. He didn't hesitate. Done. I want a full review, I added. Every transaction. He nodded. And recovery? That word hung there. Heavy. Important. I looked at him. Steady. Yes. No anger. No hesitation. Just correction. Because this wasn't about punishment. It was about ownership. He wrote it down. Then paused. There's one more thing, he said. I waited. Some transfers weren't direct. I didn't move. They were routed. Through other accounts. I already knew where this was going. They lead back to your daughter's household. There it was. Clear. Clean. Final. And in that moment, everything aligned. The lunch. The tone. The shift. The assumption. None of it was accidental. It was supported. Quietly. Over time. I sat back slightly. Not shocked. Just finished connecting the pattern. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The documents were ready faster than I expected. By Friday, everything was on the table. Literally. Martin placed them in front of me. Neatly organized. Every change. Every adjustment. Every correction. This reflects your instructions, he said. I nodded. Of course it did. Because this time, I had given them clearly. No assumptions. No space for interpretation. I picked up the first document. My will. Old version. Built on trust. New version. Built on structure. I read it slowly. Not because I needed to understand it. Because I needed to confirm it. Every line placed things back where they belonged. With me. I signed. No hesitation. Next document. Power of attorney. Removed. Reassigned. Controlled. Signed. Then the accounts. Access revoked. Monitoring added. Protection. Signed. Each signature felt lighter. Not heavier. Because I wasn't losing anything. I was removing confusion. When it was done, Martin gathered the papers. It's finalized, he said. I nodded. No relief. No emotion. Just completion. Because closure doesn't always feel big. Sometimes it feels quiet. As I stepped outside, my phone rang. Melissa. Of course. I let it ring once. Then answered. Hi, I said. Mom, did you go to the bank? Not even a greeting. I almost smiled. Something like that, I said. A pause. They said my access is gone. Yes. Silence. Then, why would you do that? I leaned against the wall. Calm. Steady. Because it's mine, I said. No explanation. No apology. Just fact. Another pause. Longer. You're overreacting, she said. There it was. The last version of her. The one that still believed this was negotiable. I'm not reacting, I said. I'm correcting. That ended it. Not the conversation. The position. Because from that moment on, there was no confusion left. Only consequences. I ended the call, put my phone away, and stood there for a second, feeling nothing dramatic. No anger. No sadness. Just alignment. Because for the first time in a long time, everything was exactly where it should be. And more importantly, so was I. The call came the next day. I was in the kitchen. Same place. Same table. Different position. My phone lit up. Melissa. I answered. Hi. No warmth. No distance. Just neutral. Mom, she said. Did you change something with the accounts? Straight to it. Not how are you? Not did you get home safe? Just access. Yes, I said. Silence. Then, they told me I don't have access anymore. That's correct. Another pause. Longer this time. Why would you do that? There it was. The question she thought would put me back in place. It didn't. Because it's mine, I said. Flat. Final. Silence. Then her tone shifted. slightly sharper. I've always had access. I know. You gave it to me. I did. So why take it away now? There it was. Not confusion. Expectation. I leaned against the counter. Calm. Still. Because you stopped asking, I said. That landed. Harder than anything else. She didn't answer immediately. Because she knew. You never said I had to, she replied. Quiet. Careful. And that was the moment. You're right, I said. I didn't. A pause. Then I finished it. I assumed you would. Silence. Heavy now? Because assumption cuts deeper than accusation. Mom, I was helping you, she said. I made things easier. I know. And you think that means it belongs to you? I asked. No raised voice. No anger. Just precision. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. That ended that. A long pause followed. Then she tried again. This is about Sunday, isn't it? Finally. Recognition. Not full. But enough. It helped, I said. That's ridiculous, she snapped. It was just a gift. I almost smiled. Because that sentence told me everything. It wasn't the gift, I said. Then I paused. And added, it was the position. Silence. Total. Because that word couldn't be argued. Position, she repeated. Yes. I didn't explain. I let her sit with it. Because if you have to explain respect, it's already gone. So what now, she asked. Not angry anymore. Not confident either. Just uncertain. Now, I said, nothing is assumed. And that was the moment the dynamic changed. She showed up 2 days later, at my house, unannounced. That told me everything. People don't show up like that, unless something feels unstable. I opened the door. She didn't smile, didn't hug me, just walked in. We need to talk, she said. Not a request, a demand. I stepped aside. Then talk. She walked into the living room, looked around, like she was seeing it for the first time. Or maybe, like she was realizing something she hadn't before. This is about money, she said. Straight. Direct. Wrong. This is about control, I replied. She turned. Faster this time. So you admit it. I do. No hesitation. That caught her off guard. Because she expected defense. Not clarity. You're trying to control everything now, she said. I shook my head. No, I stepped closer. Measured. Calm. I'm taking back what I never gave away. That stopped her. Completely. Because that line has no argument. You're acting like I stole something, she said. I didn't say that. But you're implying it. No, I replied. I'm defining it. Silence. Because implication can be denied. Definition cannot. She crossed her arms. Defensive now. I was managing things, she said. I made decisions because someone had to. And you decided that someone was you? I asked. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Because the answer was already there. I didn't think you'd mind, she said. Quiet. Almost honest. And that was the real moment. I looked at her. Steady. You didn't think about me at all, I said. That hit. Not loud, but deep. Because there's no defense against truth that's simple. She looked away. Then back. You're overreacting. There it was again. The last attempt to shrink the situation. I didn't move. Didn't raise my voice. I'm not reacting, I said. I'm responding. Then I added, finally. Silence. Longer this time. Because that word meant she had missed something. For a long time. So what do you want? She asked. There it was. The shift. From defense to negotiation. I answered simply. Clarity. She frowned. That's not an answer. It is. I stepped back slightly. Gave space. Then finished it. You know exactly what that means. And she did. That's why she stopped talking. The message came the next morning. I didn't realize. 3 words. No explanation. No defense. Just realization. I read it once. Then set my phone down. Because those words don't fix anything. They just mark the moment someone finally sees. Later that day, Martin called. I've completed the review. And there were more transfers than expected. Of course there were. Patterns don't stop on their own. They were consistent, he added. Structured. That word again. Structured. Which means intentional. And the source? I asked. A pause. Then, they lead back to your daughter's household. Clear. Clean. Final. I didn't react. Because this wasn't new information. It was confirmation. Do you want to proceed with recovery? He asked. Yes. No pause. No adjustment. Because this wasn't revenge. It was correction. I ended the call. Sat there. Still. Not thinking about Melissa. Not thinking about the money. Just thinking about one thing. Clarity. Because once you see the full picture, you can't go back to guessing. My phone buzzed again. Melissa. Another message. I checked everything. A second later. I didn't know it added up like that. There it was. Not denial. Not defense. Awareness. Finally, I picked up the phone, typed one sentence, then deleted it. Because not every realization needs a response. Some of them need consequences. I stood up, walked to the window, looked outside. Everything looked the same. Same street, same sky, same quiet. But nothing felt the same. Because the truth had already done its job. It didn't explode. It didn't destroy anything. It just made everything impossible to ignore. And from that point on, there was no going back. Only forward. And this time, I was the one deciding where that was. By Tuesday morning, everything was ready. Not emotionally. Structurally. I sat across from Martin again. Same office. Same desk. Different outcome. The documents were laid out in front of me. Clean. Organized. Final. This reflects everything you requested, he said. I nodded. I didn't need reassurance. I needed confirmation. I picked up the first page. My will. The old version had been built on trust. This one was built on clarity. I read it slowly, not searching for mistakes, confirming intent. Every line did one thing. It removed assumption and replaced it with decision. I signed. No hesitation. No pause. Next document. Power of attorney. Removed. Reassigned. Controlled. I signed again. Then the accounts. Access revoked. Monitoring added. Ownership restored. I signed the last page. Placed the pen down. And that was it. No dramatic moment. No emotional release. Just completion. Because control doesn't return loudly. It returns quietly. You're all set, Martin said. I stood. Gathered my things. Then paused. One more thing, I said. He looked up. If anyone asks about any of this, I let the sentence sit. Then finished it. They can ask me directly. He nodded. Of course. I walked out of the office. Into the open air. And for the first time, nothing felt uncertain. My phone rang. Melissa. I looked at it. Let it ring once. Then answered. Hi. Mom, I need to see you. No softness. No distance. Just urgency. When? I asked. Today. I thought for a second. Then, 7. A pause. I'll be there. The line went quiet. I put my phone away and kept walking. Because this time, I wasn't preparing for a conversation. I was closing one. She arrived exactly at 7. Not early. Not late. Precise. That was new. I opened the door. She didn't step in immediately. She looked at me first. Carefully. Like she was trying to understand something she couldn't fully see yet. Hi, she said. Hi. She walked in. Slow. Measured. No performance. We stood in the living room. Facing each other. No distractions. No buffer. Just truth. I talked to the bank, she said. I figured. They told me everything is locked. Yes. And the transfers, she stopped. Then continued. They're being reversed. I nodded. No reaction. Because that part was already done. She looked at me. Really looked. Did you know? She asked. I do now. Silence. Then, I didn't mean for it to. I raised my hand slightly. Not to silence her. To redirect her. I'm not interested in what you meant, I said. Calm. Even. I'm interested in what happened. That changed the room. Because intention gives people somewhere to hide. Facts don't. She swallowed. Nodded slightly. I see that now, she said. And for the first time, it sounded real. We stood there for a moment. Then she asked. So what happens to me? There it was. Not about us. About her position. I answered without hesitation. That depends on you. She frowned. I don't understand. I stepped slightly closer. Not aggressive. Not soft. Just certain. You don't lose your place all at once, I said. You lose it when you stop respecting it. Silence. Complete. Because that line doesn't need explanation. And right now? She asked quietly. I looked at her. Steady. Clear. Right now, you don't have one. That was it. No anger. No raised voice. Just fact. She didn't argue. Didn't defend. Because there was nothing left to argue. Only something to rebuild. Slowly. If she chose to. She nodded. Once. Small. Real. I understand, she said. And this time she did. A week later. Mother's Day felt far away. But the clarity stayed. That's the thing about truth. It doesn't fade. It settles. Melissa sent a message. Would you like to come for lunch? Simple. No extras. No performance. I read it. Then I chose. I'll come. At 1. Same house. Same door. Different dynamic. She opened it. Stepped aside. Hi, Mom. Hi. Inside, the table was set. 3 plates. 1 empty. I noticed it immediately. Not because it mattered. Because it meant something. We sat down. She served the food. Carefully. Deliberately. No rushing. No distraction. Just attention. That was new. I went through everything, she said. My accounts. The transfers. I nodded. And? She looked at me. I fixed what I could. A pause. I'm still fixing the rest. I studied her for a moment. Not judging. Not measuring. Just observing. Because effort is easy to say. Consistency is harder to prove. That's a start, I said. Nothing more. Because approval isn't given early. She reached into the drawer. Pulled something out. Placed it on the table. Between us. The plastic gift. $5. Still the same. But not the same. I shouldn't have given you this, she said. I looked at it. Then at her. No, I said. You shouldn't have. Silence. Then she added. I didn't realize what it meant. I nodded. No. Because meaning is invisible to the person giving it, but not to the person receiving it. She pushed it slightly toward me. I want you to keep it. I raised an eyebrow slightly. Why? She didn't hesitate. So I don't forget. That landed. Not loudly, but deeply. I picked it up, turned it once in my hand, then set it back down. Between us. I won't forget either, I said. And that was enough. We finished lunch quietly. No tension. No pretending. Just awareness. When I stood to leave, she walked me to the door. Same path. Different meaning. Thank you for coming, she said. I nodded. Thank you for asking. She hugged me. Not out of habit. Not out of obligation. But not fully either. Somewhere in between. That's where we were now. Between what was lost and what might be rebuilt. I stepped outside. Walked to my car. Sat down. And for a moment, I just sat there. Thinking about that lunch. The ring. The cruise. The $5 gift. And I realized something. That gift was never the insult. It was the evidence of where I had allowed myself to stand. I started the engine, pulled away, and didn't look back. Because in the end, I didn't lose anything. I just stopped giving it away. And once you understand that, no one can take your place again.